Hello, Skilla. My name is Dr. Stone, and it looks like you have a therapy appointment with me today. So, tell me, what's your story? Well, I wasn't always this monster. It's funny, I never really knew the guy, Glaucus, who completely screwed up my life. You see, he was best friends with Circe, but he had a huge crush on me and she got jealous. Very jealous. It was on June 23rd, 2007, and I don't really like to talk about it, but in short, I was burned by a huge fire within inches of my life, and even after months in the hospital, that bitch never fessed up. But I know it was her, Circe. I used to be beautiful, but because of her, I was a nobody. In December 2008, I broke. After taking the legal route for a year and failing, I decided to just get revenge however the hell I wanted. Basically, through some connections, I learned how to kill. And then Odysseus, a marine, strolled through town and Circe fell in love immediately. So now I just planned to kill Odysseus for a much tastier revenge. So Odysseus and Circe were going to go camping on June 23rd, 2009, the first planned assassination day. But Circe, the whore, was already pregnant, which complicated things. She started getting contractions, and then they went to the hospital, but I hadn't been expecting a premature birth, and I couldn't kill them in front of everyone, so I missed my chance. I was a failure. It was too much. So I found a guy that could inject stuff into my arm, and I saw clearly for the first time in a while. I realized that I couldn't mess up again. So I began to practice on anyone. I didn't care who they were, but the first one was the hardest. It was a high school couple and they were hiking by my cave. I was living in a cave. But anyways, I saw them coming up the trail and gathered my 6 best knives, just extensions of myself. I put on my black hoodie and mask and they had no idea what was coming. But afterwards, after I slashed them till they were unrecognizable, I couldn't stand myself. I ran to my guy downtown, but he said I needed to pay up. So without a job or any family connections, I said I'd get the money. And that's when I started doing some borrowing. But this was good for me. I finally knew I was ready when after breaking and entering and killing an entire family, I just stood over them and laughed. So then came June 23rd, 2010. Second attempt. Finally. Odysseus, Circe, and their 3 sons, Eurymachus, and I forget the other kids' names, but they were all going on a sailboat ride that day. So before the sun came up, I climbed into one of the compartments and waited. I waited and waited until they got distracted by a whirlpool, and it was time. I burst out and killed the 2 kids sitting closest to me and yelled to Circe, "I hope you burn like my face did in the fire." And her face, oh, it was just the best. So sad, guilty, and tortured. But seconds later, Odysseus had a pistol pointed at me. I nearly froze, but luckily I jumped off the back of the boat and swam for my life towards the nearest shore. When I reached those sands, alive, I finally smiled and then laughed. I had got her. I got Circe. She would be forever scarred like me, and the look on her face as she watched her 2 sons get murdered in front of her. She thought she could get away, but I got her. However, I had left 2 witnesses alive, so the police found me hiding out in the woods, and I was arrested. The trial was short. I didn't even bother denying my assassinations. Why should I? They were so fun to me, so satisfying, like a good meal. And when I said this, that's when they decided to send me to the asylum, and so that's why I'm here and feeling trapped in a body that I wasn't meant to live in. Any more questions?
Revenge is like a drug. It feels amazing until you overdose, and then the fall is agonizing.